Hi, you're listening to The Real Truth About You. This is a show where we help you to become the best that you can be so that you can live a full and abundant and a very blessed life through discovering the real you, who you really are. I'm William Sinclair. I'm your host for today, and I have a question for you, but before I ask it, I've often said that, and it's not always the case, but I've often said that people who have lived or are living a very happy, fulfilled, and there's my phone going off, you can tell this is a live recording, who live a happy, fulfilled, and very blessed life are usually people who are on a spiritual journey, not just an inner journey, but a spiritual journey. And so this show today is more for people who believe in God, who believe in a divineness, a divine power greater than themselves. And this divine power, whom I call God in my life, is so great and powerful that he created me, that this God created the universe. And if you believe in a God like that, if this is your God, then I really encourage you to listen to this podcast. And even if this is not what you believe, you might still get something out of this. But I have to ask this question. If this is the belief that you have, that this God created you, created the whole universe, the world around us, the galaxies, and everything you can even see, imagine, touch, smell, taste, anything, but it all comes originally from this God, then I have a question for you. If you were the only person left in the world, if you had no kids, if you had no family, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but just eliminate everything, there's no other people in this world, and it's just you and your God, face to face, one. Would that be enough for you? Would that be enough for you? And I'm asking this question because I had a conversation with somebody recently, and they're a really busy doer type of person, and the same kind of person I used to be. In fact, I still am to some degree. But I found that my busyness was trying to fill a void in my life. I was trying to be something, be someone through my busyness. We live in a culture that's very productive driven. In the Western world especially, we're very production driven. So we get valued a lot by what we do and not just by who we are or what we are. And so we tend to go about our life trying to justify ourselves, to validate ourselves through what we do, through our actions, through the masks that we sometimes place on ourselves, through all the programming that we've been told. We try to validate ourselves in our lives through other people. And we get validated when other people notice us, when other people respond to our authority or our power, or other people appreciate what we've done and like us for what we've done, when we establish more friends, when our family just love us to bits. We get validated through that. Well, I have a belief, and I'm pretty sure this is supported in many other places. I have a belief that when God created you, when he created each one of us, that he placed part of himself in there. I've heard it like we are a bucket, and it's like we go to the ocean, or we're at the ocean and we scoop out the ocean, and the ocean is God. And so we're a bucket filled with God. Is what in the bucket, is it just water now, or is it actually still ocean? It's the same thing. It's ocean. It's the same thing with God. God has placed something in us that is him. And that longing in us, that fulfillment in us, that fulfillment in us longs to connect with itself, with God and the universe and the world and everything through creation, is a longingness for the oneness of God to be complete, So we're always driven back to God. So as a Christian, we call it the Holy Spirit. You might call it something else. You might call it energy. You might call it light. You might call it awakening. But it's a oneness that wants to connect us to the oneness of all, which to me is God. But sometimes we cover that up. We think, we don't realize, we're not aware that it's God calling to be one, united, of total oneness, a completeness, a wholeness. And we don't realize that. And we start to cover that light up. We cover that Holy Spirit up. We cover up that God within us. And we try to fill it with material things. We buy a new vehicle. We buy a new house. We buy books, magazines. We search after things that are not whole and not designed to bring us to that wholeness, that oneness, that uniqueness that is God. And we cry out for that, and our whole being cries for that. And we keep searching, and we're driven to connect with God. And we try to fill it with so many things. And even as Christians, I'm a Christian, I find a lot of Christians, they almost cover up that drive towards God with doing things, even things that seem good. And people benefit, and there's nothing wrong from doing good things for others. But what is driving that? Is it an external that's pulling us towards that and us to feel fulfilled? Or is it coming from our heart? I remember Mother Teresa said, "It is fine to come and serve those who are poorer than us, those who are poorer than us, but don't feed yourself off of them. Don't go and help in the missions, or go help feed people in India or wherever it is, so that you can come back and say, I did this. I was in India. I fed the poor." That's your own ego. It has to come from your heart. And the only way it's going to come from your heart is when you truly discover God within you, when you truly become awakened to that light, that oneness, that connection with God. And sometimes we have to strip away everything. We have to strip away the busyness. We have to strip away all the buying things we do. We have to strip away our opinions of everything. And we have to come into the stillness of our inner self. Because within us is total peace. Because God is peace. And God is love. And so when you discover and become aware of and totally uncover that light, that God, the Spirit that within you, then you act in love, and you act in total peace, in calmness. You act with purpose. You act with passion. Then everything is driven from a desire, an inner desire to love, to serve, to follow, to give of ourselves. It's not an external driving us that we have to fix everything. If you have a desire to fix everything in the world, when you have an opinion about everything that is wrong, that needs to be fixed, then usually that's your own self saying, I need to be fixed. There's something in me that is causing me to want to fix. I am not complete. So we need to stop. We need to slow down. We need to get into that quiet space. We need to, in our space of time and space, connect to a God who is timeless. In the Christian Bible, it says that 1,000 days is but a year. No, 1,000. Here we go again. 1,000 years is but a day to God, and a day is but 1,000 years. In other words, God is timeless. Time is irrelevant. It is us who created time. We are in a linear existence. It's true. We're born, we live, we die. It begins and it ends in the physical realm anyway. but the God who is the oneness of all, who is the unity of all, who is the love of all, is timeless. And when we sit and we slow our body down, when we slow down our thinking, when we slow down our breathing and just listen to ourselves breathe, when we focus our life into the moment and we become still, we slow our lives down to the point, or appear to slow our lives down to the point where we can connect with a timeless God, a God who lives in timelessness. And that's why we want to connect. That's why we want to see God for who he truly is in us. Sometimes our perception of God varies as we grow older. Sometimes our religion gives us concepts of who God is. But God in ultimate form is total love and total unity. And we need to connect to that so that we're not driven by all the externals. We're not driven by all the things that pull us in a million directions. We're driven by what drives us inside, love and peace and unity with the oneness of God. Thank you so much for listening today. Take the time to sit and be. I thank you for being a part of this podcast adventure that I'm on, this message, and I ask you to share this message with as many people as you can. Would you please do that for me? Because the more you help others, the more you help yourself. You can go to our website, therealtruthaboutyou.com. You can download more episodes. You can burn them onto a CD for somebody if you need to. And you can get more resources and find out more about us. If you're on iTunes or any of the podcast delivery sites, subscribe to us because that helps us be more popular and gets the message out more. That's just the reality of what it is. And leave us a message. Contact us any way you can. And if you need help, let us know. I'm Will Sinclair. And the most important thing today is have an awesome, awesome, awesome day and love yourself to bits, because you know what? You rock.